If you've been feeling like you're falling behind on everything and your brain is foggy and you just can't seem to get anything done, and there's a million tabs open in your brain that you can't seem to close, hi, and same. A few months ago, I hit a wall and I realized that as much as I want to get every single thing on my list done, I can't do that. And especially when I try to fix my entire life at once. So I came up with a simple system called One Tiny Thing to help me make progress in, all the areas of my life, aka feel a little bit better about myself without it all falling apart, aka without falling back into burnout. I call it One Tiny Thing. Technically, it's 12 things, though that may vary depending on how you apply it for your life, but stay with me. And speaking of me, if we haven't met yet, my name is Isabel, and on this channel, we talk all about embracing your weird in order to build a better brand, business, and life. Now, I've talked about before on this channel that I divide my life into four main categories. So health, personal, opportunities, and relationships. And each of those four main categories have three subcategories. So for example, health has physical health, mental health, and spiritual health. Opportunities has business, lifestyle, and travel. Relationships has my home, my inner circle, aka my marriage and my dogs, and then friends and family. And then my personal one has learn, things I want to learn, grow, things I want to get better at. That doesn't necessarily mean from a learning perspective. It can be something that I want to do more, etc. And then play, things that I do just for me, just for fun, just because I enjoy them. So your life might not have 12 categories. That's just how I divide mine. Because mine has 12 categories, that's why I said it's one tiny thing, but technically it's 12. But that's going to depend on how you divide your own life. So start thinking about that in the background as you watch this video. When I started feeling burnt out, I was exhausted, and trying to keep all those 12 areas afloat only made me feel worse. And the more I couldn't do things, the more frustrated I felt. The more I couldn't do things, the more I noticed how many things weren't done. And everything just felt like it was falling apart, right? So instead of just kind of slumming it in that feeling and that frustration, I decided to come up with a system that worked for me. The One Tiny Thing system. That's how it was born. Now, how this works is each week I pick one tiny thing that I can do or that I want to do that week for each of the 12 areas in my life. So AKA, I make a to-do list of 12 tasks. Now, it's just one thing to do. It has to be bite-sized. In fact, there are rules. First rule is no habits. These can't be actions that I have to do multiple times a week or multiple times a day or multiple times a month. That is for a different part of your life. If you're trying to rebuild your habits, that's great, but this is not for that. Because this is to start making yourself feel better. And while it feels great to keep a habit streak, I'm not saying it doesn't. When your energy levels are mostly down and they're going up and down and up and down and up and down, you can't reliably hit a habit streak because you can't depend on your energy levels to be there every single time you need them. And so including habits in the One Tiny Thing is kind of working against yourself. The second thing is no guilt. I have a master list of all the tasks that I want to do and all the projects that I want to do for each area of my life. And if, let's say I picked one tiny thing, I don't know, clear out the junk drawer for this week, and that didn't get done, it goes back on the master list. And when I make my list for next week, I might pick that same task or I might pick another one. It doesn't matter. Because of that, this has to be things that don't have a real deadline. So what do I mean by that? Work tasks might have a deadline. Some work tasks do, some work tasks don't. Clearing out your email probably doesn't have a deadline. Responding to that one email from your boss that is urgent has a deadline. It's something that you have to do. For this One Tiny Thing, we want things that don't have a deadline. Why? Because these are things that usually don't get prioritized. So clearing out the junk drawer, nothing's going to happen if it doesn't happen. But if it does happen, every time you open that drawer, you're going to feel a sense of relief and a sense of accomplishment. Those are the kinds of tasks that we're looking for. And the final rule is no overwhelm. There's no picking like huge projects, there's no picking huge tasks. If you want to do part of a project, that's great, but make sure you pick a small part of it. So let's say I wanted to declutter my entire kitchen. I would say, okay, declutter the junk drawer. And then maybe next week I'll say deep clean the cabinet or deep clean the fridge, whatever it is. But the idea is that this is one tiny task so that you're actually motivated to do it and you can actually see the accomplishment without getting overwhelmed by this huge project. Those are the rules. 4 rules: no habits, no guilt, no deadlines, and no overwhelm. Those are the rules. So for this week, for example, I'll share a few of the things I had with you. For my home stuff, I wanted to pick up the dry cleaners. For things I wanted to get better at, I wanted to watch a workshop that I had signed up for but hadn't watched yet. For my mental health stuff, I'm going to an event this Saturday that is it's an event ran by Wendy Ramos, who is a professional clown, but also has turned into like a motivational speaker type person here in Peru. For play, which are things I do just for fun, just for enjoyment, I am doing singing lessons, and because a new month is starting, we have to pick a new song. So my tiny task for play this week was to pick out songs that I might want to work on for this month so that I can take them to the teacher and see what what song we're going to work on. So you can see these are really, like I said before, tiny tasks, right? It's watching a workshop. It's going to an event that I had already bought tickets for. And I did kind of break that rule there because there's a deadline on that because the event is this Saturday. But rules are sometimes meant to be broken. I always say that. So, do with the rules what you will. I normally don't include things that have deadlines, but for my mental health this week, I knew that that was going to be the one thing that I did not want to miss out on. So those are just some of the things that are on my list for this week. But I want to share also, why does this work? It works because you get to build momentum without the pressure. You get the dopamine hit and you get the serotonin from seeing the result, but you're not pressuring yourself to get a million things done. You're also not looking at the million things you have to get done. On my master list, there are hundreds of tasks along each of the areas. I could go on and on and on about all the things that I want to get done in my home, right? But when I pick just one thing and I have this really short list for the week, it really helps me focus on just getting this one tiny thing done. And that helps me build momentum. And sometimes when I'm done with my list, I actually keep going and pick more things from the master list because I'm excited to keep on working and keep moving forward because I've built that momentum without the pressure of looking at hundreds of things and thinking, oh, well, I only did one of these. No, that was my one thing. I did it, so that's great. And now if I get to pick one more thing, that's great. And if I don't, that's also great because I did my one thing. And if I didn't do my one thing, there's still no pressure because remember, it just goes back to the master list and next week we try again. It also helps you have a single place for non-time bound tasks. So those tasks that don't have a deadline, you now have them in a single place where you can actually start to prioritize them. And a lot of times I've found that when we focus just on the time-bound tasks, so just on tasks that have a deadline and just on tasks that are urgent, we don't realize how much the other tasks that aren't getting done are affecting our day-to-day life. So for example, I have to get laundry done. This doesn't have an exact strict deadline. However, if I don't do laundry every week, I won't have clothes to wear. So it kind of has to get done. Whereas clearing out my laundry room or organizing the cleaning closet doesn't have to get done. However, when my laundry room is organized and clean, and when my cleaning closet is organized instead of messy, and it's decluttered instead of, full of stuff, I find it more enjoyable to do laundry because I walk into that room and it's a peaceful room. It's an organized room. It's easy to find the laundry detergent and the softener and the thing, like everything you need to wash your laundry. And so it makes a recurring task that's urgent and has to get done a lot easier and more joyful and more peaceful. But a lot of times we don't prioritize these tasks, which is another reason why the one tiny thing is great, because it helps you every single week start breaking down things that are overwhelming you and start getting rid of things that are overwhelming you and making your life more peaceful, a few things at a time. Before I go, I will say that I made a free worksheet for this. So if you want to track your master task in your list, I did make a Google Sheet that you can download for free. The link will be in the comments. And basically, all of this is to say that if your brain is tired and you're overwhelmed or you're burnt out and your to-do list feels like a personal attack, pick one tiny thing to do this week and just stick to that one tiny thing. Or pick one tiny thing per area of your life. I do suggest not doing more than 12 areas because once you're over 12 items, the list starts getting a little bit like a normal to-do list, and then it starts getting overwhelming by itself. But, also break the rules if you want. You can do whatever you want. You don't need to overhaul everything to start feeling like you again, but it does help to start getting these things off your list. And if this helped you, I'd love to hear in the comments what's your one tiny thing for this week. And also, if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I make new videos like this every single Friday. And until then, as always, stay wild, stay weird, and I'll see you in the next one.